What's up, Superfam? That's Super Nick here, and welcome back to the channel, or as always, if you're new here, welcome. And we are here with episode 4 of WandaVision. I cannot believe we're already here at episode 4. And at the time of filming this, I will say that I have already watched episode 5 of WandaVision, which came out the Friday just gone, because I got quite busy with a new job in the past week, so I haven't really had time to film this video until now. But I'm really excited to be getting to do this now and talk a little bit about the episode and what I loved about it, and a few little cool things that happened within the episode. So before I get into talking about the video, if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy my content. Give this video a thumbs up as it really helps the channel, and leave a comment down below if you're new here or you just want to interact with me in the comments. Now, for this particular episode, episode 4 of WandaVision, it was something that was really exciting, really new, and without going into spoiler territory just yet, I'll just say as a quick, little overview, my initial thoughts on the episode was that, as I said, it was very different and it was eye-opening. So it sort of confirmed quite a few things that have happened in the first 3 episodes up until this point. So it was really fun to be able to see what has happened and get a bit more of an insight into everything that's going on. So as per usual, I will now give my regular spoiler warning, because we are now going to be going into major spoiler territory. So if you haven't watched episode 4 yet, go off and do that, and then come back and watch this video. But without further ado, and with that spoiler warning issued, let's get into talking about the episode. And welcome back. So I know that the past few episodes have been quite lengthy, and I've sort of gone through quite a few details in each episode and sort of almost spelt it out, I guess. And I don't know if you guys sort of like that format and me going through the episode bit by bit and sort of talking about my thoughts on things that happen in the episode that way. But I will try and make this episode a little bit shorter, but let me know if you guys want me to change up the way that I talk about the episodes. Like if you want me to focus on, maybe my top unexpected or exciting things that happened in the episode, and new characters that come in, and Easter eggs, and sort of cover sections like that, or if you would prefer me to do as I have been and go through the episode and talk about it chronologically, I guess, and discuss my thoughts on it that way. So episode 4, we actually begin in a hospital setting, and we see the result of what some people might call the snap, or as it is now being referred to in the MCU, I believe, as the blip, where we see who we thought was Geraldine, but we come to find out is Monica Rambeau, has come back from the snap, and she is in a hospital, and she is snapped back post-Endgame into existence, and she goes and looks for her mother, Maria Rambeau, and she finds out that her mother actually passed away 3 years ago, which gives us a bit of a time frame of what happened between the snap in the snap in Infinity War and the next snap in Avengers Endgame, and Monica had no idea that this had happened or the time that had passed. So just quickly, I kind of wanted to touch on the fact that they actually reference the blip in this show, like in this episode, because to me that sort of sets it in a time. So it's post Avengers Endgame when this is happening, because obviously we've seen the blip and Monica's comeback, so it's very cool to see that they're referencing this and placing it post Avengers Endgame. Now, after this hospital scene, we are taken to the Sword headquarters, which we see for the very first time, and we also see the initials that Sword stands for, which, let me just get this up, is the Sentient Weapon Observation Response Division. So we see these headquarters, as I said, and Monica is arriving here, and we find out that she works here under her boss, Tyler Haywood. And when she tries to sign on with her swipe card, there is an issue with it. And we later find out in her talking to Tyler Haywood, or Mr. Haywood, I guess, that she has been restricted to only terrestrial missions, so on Earth. And I can't quite remember if they mentioned what the reasoning for that is. It may have been something that happened during Captain Marvel, where we first meet Monica Rambeau, and this time, because remember, Captain Marvel was set in the 90s, and now we see Monica Rambeau in the present day. So something's obviously happened before this. That means that she's only allowed on terrestrial or Earth-based missions. Now, a couple of other cool things that I picked up in this particular... It was a couple of scenes, I guess, in Captain Rambeau and Tyler walking through an area of the Sword HQ up to his office, is that they go through like a place where they're developing, I guess, spaceships or something like that. And Mr. Haywood is talking about an astronaut program and losing some pilots in the blip, and I have seen a few things around that people think that may be referencing the Fantastic Four, who they have officially been announced for the MCU. So I wonder if that is actually a legitimate reference to them, because for those of you who know their origins, they were all pilots up in space when they gained their powers. So not sure if that was a reference to them or not, but if it was, that's pretty exciting. And the other thing in that scene that I found quite interesting was when Monica says something along the lines of there being both enemies and allies in space at the current time, which I'm going to assume that by allies she would be referring to Captain Marvel. Now, one other cool little, I guess, Easter egg or reference that I saw in one of these scenes where Mr. Haywood is bringing Monica or Captain Rambeau into this workshop area in the Sword headquarters is that we see a plaque on the wall of Monica's mother, which reads Maria Photon Rambeau, and I haven't done any research into this, so let me know down in the comments if you know what the reference to Photon was, like if that's an alias that her mother had or something else. But I picked that up and thought that that was potentially a Easter egg or a reference to something. So now Captain Rambeau has been assigned to a mission, and we cut to see the return of Agent Jimmy Woo, who I believe the last time we saw him was, I think, in Ant-Man and the Wasp, or Ant-Man, one of those two movies, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's really exciting to see him back in the role as Agent Jimmy Woo. Obviously, he was announced in the casting, but it was great to see him back in action in this episode. And he's obviously an FBI agent who Captain Rambeau has been assigned to work with to figure out what's going on with Westview, which is the town where everything in WandaVision has been going on up until now. So we see Agent Jimmy Woo and Captain Rambeau meet up in an area just outside of Westview where Agent Woo is talking to the local authorities, and we find out from them that according to them, the town of Westview doesn't exist at all, which definitely sparks interest. And so Agent Woo and Captain Rambeau meet up and they decide to send in a sword drone, which we later come to find out, or if you figured it out already, that they sent in a drone. We realize that this is I believe, like the red and yellow little helicopter that Wanda found in the bushes in, I believe it was episode 2, with the little sword logo on it. So I think that that's what they send in here to try and recover intelligence from inside Westview. And then Monica herself tries to enter the force field surrounding Westview herself, and we see her get almost sucked into the barrier here. So cut to 24 hours later, and we have a full sword base set up outside of Westview with what has just happened, and in comes another character that we haven't seen in a while since, I guess, the Thor movies, which is Dr. Darcy Lewis, played by Kat Dennings. Now, this was probably one of the most anticipated returns of a character for me, because I love Kat Dennings, and she's absolutely hilarious, and she continues to be so in this show. So I was really excited to see her come back, and right off the bat, we continue to see her sense of humour in the show. And we come to find out when she arrives at this sword base and sets up her equipment and starts to try and figure out what is going on, we now begin to learn what we have been teased and seeing through episodes 1 to 3. So she's able to tune into a frequency that this show, which from what we've seen so far has been life for Wanda and Vision in the town of Westview, and we see that it's being recorded as a show on television. So this then shows us that the person who we saw in the teaser scene at the end of episode 1, I think it was, with the little TV screen and the notebook with the sword logo on it, that was actually Dr. Darcy Lewis. So now we come to find that out, which is really exciting. And additionally to that, we see the person in episode 2 who was in the beekeeper suit, where he came from in the sword base. And we also see that it is Agent Jimmy Woo, who was the voice on the radio. So here we are in the outside world, starting to figure out all these little strange things that have been happening inside the world of Westview where Wanda and Vision are, and we're now seeing where they're coming from outside of this world, which is quite exciting and why I felt that it has opened up so much. So that was really eye-opening and exciting for me. And after, I think it's during the taping at the sword base of episode 2, I think that Agent Woo starts to create like a character map, a bit of a case board where he's writing down all these questions, and it's almost like a casting of a TV show because they're putting up like the character pictures and profiles, and figuring out that there are these different people or actors who are playing these characters in the world of Westview. So I thought that that was a really cool way to show what was going on in there, and the fact that, you know, it wasn't just Mr. Hart and Mrs. Hart, or it wasn't Herb or all these characters, but it's actually people with other names who are supposedly playing these characters in this world of Westview. Now, one interesting little detail just within this character board that Agent Wu is starting to build up is that we don't see Agnes on there at all. So that starts to bring into question who she is and if she is an actor playing a character. Now, I think it's in about episode 2 or 3 where we start to see a few little glitches in the show being recorded, in that it starts completely cutting out parts as if someone, Wanda specifically, is censoring the broadcast from parts that she specifically does not want to be seen. So, for example, at the end of episode 3, we see from the outside world when she says to Geraldine that she thinks she should leave the house in that moment. From the outside world, we see that moment in the show, and then it cuts straight to the credits. And at this point, Dr. Lewis tries to rewind it and see what happened to that footage, and it still just gets to the credits, and she pauses it right when Wanda says, "I think you should leave," and we hear an alarm in the outside world, so everybody at the sword base sort of rushes to see what's happening. And then I believe the aspect ratio of the show, it either doesn't change or goes back to the sitcom ratio, I can't quite remember, but we go into the world of the show, into Westview, and we see what really plays out and happens in that moment. So we see that Wanda actually gets very mad at what she's heard from Geraldine, and she uses her powers to completely throw Geraldine out of the house, through multiple walls and outside of the barrier. And then she fixes up the house, and then Vision comes back in, and we have a bit of a shocking moment where she actually visualizes Vision, but it's when he's killed at the end of Infinity War and Thanos has taken the Infinity Stone out of his head. So she sort of has a moment where she sees that and gets quite frightened by that, and then he comes back to normal, and we start cutting here between Westview and the outside world, where in the world of Westview we see what's happening with Wanda and Vision in the house post Wanda throwing Geraldine out, and we see in the outside world where Monica Rambeau has been thrown out of the world of Westview and is now outside and being surrounded to be checked on by everybody at the sword base. So now, after everything that has happened, we see Wanda saying to Vision that she has everything under control, sort of giving that underlying message that she is in fact controlling everything, and she's got everything within her control, and she's sort of manipulating everything to her desire. And then we cut outside the world where Monica Rambeau, I keep having to go between Geraldine and Monica because she's two different people inside and outside of Westview, so I'm trying not to stuff that up. But so we have Monica outside of the barrier of Westview, and she's sort of saying in her dazed state, waking up to everybody there at Sword, that it's all Wanda, she's doing all of this. And then after that, we change the aspect ratio back to the sitcom aspect ratio that it has been previously, and we see the ending of the show and the credits roll. So this episode just made me literally wow. Like, I was like, what's going on? I'm loving that we see Agent Jimmy Woo, Dr. Darcy Lewis, they're back. And that we see a bit of where Monica Rambeau has come from, because obviously the first time we saw her was as a younger child in the Captain Marvel movie, and we haven't really seen her since, so that was really exciting to sort of get a bit of background on her and find out that her character was Geraldine and get that confirmation. And I just loved being in that outside world and finally being able to see what's actually been going on and have so many questions answered. And that was one of my favourite episodes, I'd say, from episode 1 to 4. And don't get me wrong, I still loved episodes 1 to 3, but 4 was just like, wow, blew my mind. And then, as I said at the start of the video, at the time of filming this, I've actually already watched episode 5, so I have to be careful what I say, but I would just say that after watching episode 5, I think that that may be my new favourite episode, because that just took episode 4 and went tenfold. And I was like, what the hell is going on? But I'm loving all of it. And I'm not going to say anything else before the next video, because obviously I don't want to spoil anything, because this is all about episode 4. But that will do it for my thoughts and opinions on everything that happened in episode 4. And don't forget, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And thank you so much, guys, for all the support on the channel so far. I think we've recently hit 72 subscribers, which is amazing. And don't forget that at 100 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway. So look forward to that. But that will do it for now. I cannot wait to see you guys in the next video. And until then, stay super and stay safe.